What is up, everybody? It's your boy Andrew Esquire here, American attorney living over here in Bangkok, Thailand, hanging out in Asia. Of course, Legal Mindset, we teach you to be your own judge. And of course, we're coming at you today with a little bit on the Seditious 6 scandal. So we're going to be talking about that today, issuing my judgment on that, and then it's going to be wrapping into a fast facts. Now, I have added a little bit of information at the end here on a little interesting twist to this scandal, as well as some local Thai news, which I think it kind of dovetails with some of the analysis at the end there. So I wanted to throw it in there, just a little extra only for the live. I try to give the live a little bit of extra spice as compared to just the fast facts. So you get something different, something extra, some alpha on top of that, maybe a little omega too. But good to see you guys here. And good to see everybody in the chat today. Appreciate all of you base supporters. And Doug Diaz dropping the 5 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much. Yes. We've got an aptly sized PP today, very appropriate. Neither's too small nor too large. You know, it's just right. It's just right. We got Mudang rocking her I Love Bangkok hat. So she's doing just fine back there. And the goal is not working for me today. So the goal function is not working. So I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe I got to restart everything and reset it. But if we get to 10, we're unleashing the bird. Okay. We're unleashing the bird. Okay. Earlier it was the tiger. Now we have the birds. Okay. We've got a lovely, and yes, that means I'm drinking in the morning and in the evening. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Listen, you guys aren't allowed to judge me anymore. All right, we're done here. The bird is this is a Cow Home Vit beer, the original island beer, right? This is a make every day a Phuket day. This is a Phuket beer, right? Very, very nice. Lovely. Look at that bird. Look at that bird. How can you hate on that bird? That's a lovely bird, right? Lovely bird. So if we get to 10, we'll do that. I'll just count it. I'll just count it down on the timer there. But yes, we're gonna. Yes, I'm giving you the bird. Yes, bird is the word. Yes, burb is the word, right? As well. But sounds good, guys. Actually, you know what? We'll see where we get. But yeah. Also, thank you for being here. Whether it's morning, evening, or night. Right now here in Bangkok, Thailand, it is 8:34 p.m. Right? Yes. It is not a parrot. This is a toucan. This is a toucan, right? But it's a lovely toucan. Very lovely toucan. So yeah, the beak be large. Listen, sometimes you just gotta crack those nuts. Okay, sometimes you just gotta crack those nuts. And we've had a lot of fun here. I had a lot of fun earlier today. I want to give a big shout out to Noirs, my editor, for getting this Seditious 6 one done. I got this recorded a little bit earlier, and he got this done. So great shout out, great job by him. Also shout out to Eagle the Clipper, who's doing a great job with the getting the shorts out and stuff like that. We're gonna have some stuff for X as well. So big shout out to the team. They've been really amazing getting stuff done and getting stuff moving. King Lugia gifted 10 Legal Mindset memberships.
Hello, Peso Department.
One more time.
Hello, Peso Department.
Like my
Not as in, I cannot absolve you. Mega based.
He is not liking my reaction clips today. I don't know what's going on with these reaction clips. It's kind of not liking the reactions. Let's see if a shorter one works. Let's try it one more time. Yes. There we go. It's liking that one. God, I want you to crack my nuts, LM. Listen, 6 Malaysian ringgit might just get me to crack a nut. I'm just saying. I know you've got a lot of them. King Lugia. All right. So let's get into this. And if you guys have any questions, just ask me along the way, and we'll get into it, and we'll make this thing happen. So here we go. We've got this Seditious 6 scandal. So in case you guys don't know about this or you haven't heard about this, so this scandal involved 6 Democratic lawmakers. Some of them were Republicans, and they're all Democrats. Some of them are in the House, and some of them are in the Senate. 2 of them are in the Senate. The remainder, the other 4, are in the House. So they're all Democratic. And so we're going to go through the statement that they made. But just to get their names here, they called upon members of the military and intelligence community to disobey Trump. The representatives Jason Crow, Maggie Goodlander, Chris DeLuzio, and Chrissy Houlihan, and then Senators Mark Kelly and Alyssa Slotkin. Okay, so let's get into the actual statement and what they actually said. So it's over here. It's courtesy of Real Roberts on X. So I will just pull this up and let's play this video.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris Deluzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative.
By the way, the like transition and the editing and like how this looks, like it almost looks fake when I see this edited. I almost thought this was an AI video at a certain point, but it's a very weird framing and lighting. I don't know what's going on with this one. Let's play this.
Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
who take risks each day.
To keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting.
So okay, I want to put it here, and this is Mark Kelly's weird face. So when he says this administration, he is implying the Trump administration, right? So they're putting this out now, so he's applying this administration. So let's remember that as we go forward.
Our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals.
against American citizens. Like us, you all swore an oath.
To protect and defend this Constitution.
So we're gonna analyze this, and guys, I'm gonna analyze this very fairly. So you're gonna probably be surprised how fairly I'm gonna analyze this. So we're gonna get into this. But they're saying that they have an oath to defend the Constitution. Well, remember, and this is an important thing to remember. What the Constitution says and doesn't say, and is how it's interpreted, is highly controversial. You can get two different lawyers and they can disagree on that. In fact, on our Supreme Court, we have people that strongly disagree about what the Constitution says. Justice Thomas is going to have a very different opinion than Justice Sotomayor, right? So there are big differences in opinion on what the Constitution actually says, right? So just make sure that you guys understand that. That's very fundamental to this, right? Yeah, two lawyers with three opinions. Very accurate. Very accurate. Doc Holliday says some legal mindset right before I go to bed and some legal mindset right as I wake up. Nice. I'm trying to grind here, guys. We're trying to get stuff done. Mike Turner, 9498 says 3-letter agents glow so bright. Oh my God, the glowies are out of control here.
And right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
But from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
you must refuse illegal orders.
Okay,
No
and
one
that's
has to-
another. You must refuse. This is very interesting. You must refuse. Okay, well, what's the implication here? The implication is that there has been an illegal order given. Now, they don't actually cite what order was given, right? They don't say what order was given here. And also the must versus a can is also questionable. We're going to get into the actual language in the UCMJ, which, by the way, they don't cite the UCMJ, but it is only possible to do under the UCMJ. So we're going to go into that.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law.
or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
In the Army,
Our Navy,
The Air Force.
your vigilance is critical
and know that we have your back.
because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
So that's a a very vague statement. I don't know what ship they're talking about. I mean, maybe they're talking about admiralty law. It's like a sovereign citizen argument or something ridiculous. But it implies, and the implication here, and let's get into my PP, right? Because the PP's kind of got the critical facts here. But if you get into this and you look over at this over here, you see the remarks as follows: this administration is a threat to our nation. Right. So the implication is that the Trump administration is a threat to the nation. And then the really line here is no one has to carry out orders that violate our Constitution. Well, what the hell does that mean? Right. And I guess you would say if something is, once again, clearly illegal, that's like saying, the sky is blue or water is wet. Right. And that's where we get into the UCMJ. And at no point during this kind of incoherent, vague implication did they actually give one example of a illegal order. I didn't hear them give an articulate example of something that's illegal. And once again, they also did not cite what law properly they would be objecting to executing that order under. So without doing that, of course, yes, we'll get into the toucan a little bit later. I mean, a couple more super chats, and we think we got it. Let's see here. Let's get like 4 or 5 more super chats, then we'll get into the toucan, right? Sorry, the goal's not up, but we'll get into the bird in a second. We got our nice toucan lager here, the Vit beer, but what they're talking about is Article 92, and I am not a UMCJ specialist. It's a horn. Okay, fine. It's a horn bill. All right, it's a horn bill. It's a very horny bill. Okay, and it's horny for me to drink it. Okay, so without me being a specialist in the UCMJ, I still looked it up. I still did some research on this particular provision and the application of this provision. So the default is for the military is you must obey an order unless it's patently unlawful. So the presumption is clearly in favor of obeying orders. So let me be very clear. Everything they said is a misrepresentation of what the law actually is under the UCMJ. And for those that don't know, the UCMJ applies to members of the military. It is not a civilian code, et cetera, right? And members of the military fall under the UCMJ, right? So that's a very separate thing for the military, not for civilians, right? Let me get this too. Mickey D666 dropping 5 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much. Yes. Appreciate that, my devilish friend. So what they are going for, I think, is this implication under Article 92. Once again, if you read this, and this is the exact language, you can see the presumption is completely in favor of obeying order. So I'm going to read this. This is from 92, the inference of lawfulness. So an inference means the preference, right? So you default. It means the default of lawfulness. So let's read this. An order requiring the performance of a military duty or act may be inferred to be lawful, and it is disobeyed at the peril of the subordinate. And I actually thought about Band of Brothers. If you guys remember Band of Brothers, this actually came up on one of my social media feeds recently. If you've watched Band of Brothers, there was the requirement by Sobel to Winters, right, telling him to inspect the latrines, right? And he failed to do that. So he sent him a letter saying, hey, you're either going to get punished under this article or you're going to get court-martialed. And Winters is like, I request a court-martial, right? Fuck you, right? And hold on, we got to put some money in the swear jar. We're still doing this, guys. We're still doing this. We got the swear jar over here. Hold on. Swear jar is getting full up. That was very much for Band of Brothers. We definitely deserve some swear jar. So once again, in the swear jar, right? And that's an example of the order presumptively on its face, you're supposed to obey it, even if it's ridiculous, even if it's preposterous, whatever. Under strict military hierarchy, you are supposed to presumptively obey that, right? Now, what is the very, very, very specific carve out? The very specific carve out for disobeying an order. So here it is. This inference does not apply to a patently illegal order. Patently illegal. That's important. Not just illegal, patently illegal, such as one that directs the commission of a crime. So we're talking is this a vague constitutional issue that some Democratic senators have told me that they disagree on? No. Is this something that a lawyer told me could be interpreted one way or another? No. It has to be clearly illegal to a reasonable person. That's the standard. So it must be objectively and clearly unlawful on its face, such that a reasonable service member would immediately recognize it as illegal without needing expertise. So what's a good example of that? We'll talk about this. An example of something clearly illegal would be if they told the military to just go randomly shoot people with no, just go out there on the streets, just randomly shoot people for no reason. Or, hey, just start looting homes, right? Just loot homes. No cause, no reason. They're not terrorists. No, just start looting homes. Start looting American homes. Steal their Christmas presents, right? Right. That would be patently illegal. And yes, a soldier could disobey that, right? Because it's just clear to any reasonable person, right, that is illegal, right? So if you look at what was said, right? There's clearly nothing here. I found nothing looking at the Seditious Six side, and even taking their, them in the light most favorable to them, right? There's nothing really to disobey here. So they're really not telling or saying anything, right, at all whatsoever. Let's get here. Leprechaun Gold says spinning and turning and confusing the people. Bad message, bad advice. What are they drinking? I don't know, but they're not drinking the cow home Vit beer. That's very, 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 very important. Very, very, very important. All right. So let's continue here. Must be obvious and clearly unlawful on its face, such that a reasonable service member would immediately recognize it as illegal without needing legal expertise. So you have to understand that is something that is clearly illegal. Okay, sedition. So here's the question, and here's the follow-up. Is this sedition? So are these people and what they said, is it sedition? Right? So that's a very, very important question. And is it a seditious conspiracy? So for sedition, it would need to be under 18 USC 2384. So seditious conspiracy is under 18 USC 2384, which is defined as two or more people conspiring to overthrow. And so let's stop there. One of the elements is two or more people. Okay. So are there two or more people? Yes. So that element is met. So the element that requires two or more people, that's met. But let's carefully read this to see whether it's legal sedition. Now, I know that people can feel like it is, but let's see if it's a legal definition, right? So the legal definition is to overthrow, put down, or destroy by force the government of the United States, or to levy war against them, or to oppose by force the authority thereof, or by force to prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of any law. So mind you, repeatedly throughout that, the precedent, the precondition is by force. So it requires both the intent to form the conspiracy and an act of force to overthrow, put down, or destroy the government. So ultimately, my judgment here is, even though it is bad, even though you could say it is maybe in a broad sense, in a colloquial sense, treasonous, not treason, but treasonous, or maybe it is oppositional, it likely does not rise to the level, to the elements needed to prove in court criminal seditious conspiracy. So despite the fact that I think it was stupid, and I think it was an incomplete and unnecessary statement of law, which was misleading and implies that Trump has given an improper order, I think they're idiots, right? But I don't think it rises to an area where you're going to be able to prove this in court. Right? To be fair, once again, this is something I got to tell you guys. I'm always fair with my analysis. I go through, I see it, and I say, hey, is this going to be something that holds up in court or not? Because otherwise, it's a waste of time for this to be pursued in court, because it's just not going to hold up. They used words, yes, but did they use anything beyond that? No. And it could be, like someone said here, a trap for Trump, right? To go in and attack protected speech, right? And get really mad about this thing. And maybe Bondi's giving him bad advice. I don't know what she's saying. She's usually this fucking, I'm going to put some in the swear jar for Bondi here. She's usually freaking crazy, right? I'll just use an F word. She's fucking crazy, right? There you go. Some money in the swear jar for that one. But it is not going to meet seditious conspiracy, right? So it would be the same as if, like I said, the military was ordered to loot American homes for fun. That would be patently illegal. Right? That would be obvious. That would be something that they could stop, but it's not. However, here's the bigger one. And here's the interesting little tidbit. There is something that came up that could get them in trouble, the Seditious Six, right? It's not seditious conspiracy. It's something else. And this has nothing to do with what they said. It has to do with the money that they collected, and they may have been using Smurfs. And no, I'm not talking about the lovable blue characters, but I am talking about money laundering, right? Money laundering, something very serious, something that, I have kind of been, I don't want to say passionate, about, but I've noticed it, right? And Let me just go here. So the seditious six may be in trouble regarding money laundering through Smurf or donation accounts involving elderly individuals. So, for example, this is one David Hutton, right? So, and the seditious six, through donations by Hutton, Hutton donated to this guy Hutton, who's an elderly person, right? Donated to Kelly, Slotkin, Deluzio, Houlihan, Crow, and Maggie Goodlander. So got all six of them through these donation vehicles. And what they would do is they would use small donations over a period of time. And with when they're counting through these, doing investigating reporting on this, a lot of these added up to $344,000. So it seems like there might be something going on here involving potential money laundering. Now, this needs to be investigated. Obviously, they're owed a rebuttal. Obviously, someone needs to go find David Hutton in Paso Robles, California, and ask him, hey, did you really give these? Like, what's going on here? Because these accounts add up. And money laundering is a very, very, very serious problem. Right. And I want to throw in a little Thai story here because it's actually really interesting. So actually today we found out that the Thai anti-money laundering office, this is very recently, actually in December, seized over 300 million in assets from a global cybercrime networks. There's these huge networks that operate out of Southeast Asia, and they've now cracked down on that. And actually these networks have mass amounts of funds. They actually have just as the last meeting of the transaction committee of the AMLO in Thailand, they've seized a total of 289 assets, including real estate, bank funds, cash, jewelry, luxury goods, for approximately $10.1 billion, right? And usually these are based at a scam basis in Cambodia. And these are involved in, you can see down here, human trafficking, online fraud, and money laundering versus digital assets. Right. And they've already seized, 373 million in another case involving that. This often involves high-rise complexes, casinos. This is very much entrenched around the world, including here in Thailand. So once again, very, very bad stuff. And if you think about what these people could potentially be tied to with money laundering, it's very serious. It deserves serious examination. And all of these vehicles for money laundering need to be clamped down on. I'm going to do a future episode on OnlyFans. A lot of that use money laundering, right? Visa and MasterCard are too busy cracking down on anime, on manga, and games without actually enforcing anti-money laundering against platforms like OnlyFans, etc., that can be used for money laundering. So these are very, very serious things. I think these people need to be examined very, very, very seriously. And they're also afforded a defense because these might be legitimate donations. Who knows? Maybe they are legitimate donations, but we need more examination. We need more evidence. So I can't say whether or not right now they're for sure guilty of it, but there is enough evidence for them to be investigated for it, right? For them to dig deeper, get more evidence, and see whether or not they're actually guilty of money laundering. And I think that's a very serious thing to go after, right? And yeah, somebody says this may be petty. No, I don't think this is petty at all, because once again, politicians should be clean. They should be free from corruption. They should be free from, being compromised. Right. And I think that's very, very important. Right. Because there are a lot of politicians that can, once again, whether it's through money or whatever else, be absolutely compromised. And we don't want that for our politicians. We don't want that for, our leaders to be out there, exposed because they have, they've been taking money from the wrong people, or they're taking money for certain interests. We want them to be out there advocating for regular Americans, for everybody, right? And yeah, guys, always be respectful for each other, right? So, you're going to get timed out if you're not, right? That's just part of the rules here. But anyways, that's my take on this Seditious Six thing. Once again, I think that the behavior they showed was immature. I think it was stupid. I think it was idiotic. I think it was, the behavior of really people that don't know what the hell they're talking about, and they don't know the law. And certainly trying to ask a service member, like a member of the E4 mafia, to interpret the Constitution is idiotic, right? You should not assume that members of the regular military are going to be out there with their law degrees able to interpret the Constitution to a fine detail and say, well, Trump is asking me to go do XYZ in Chicago or go XYZ in Los Angeles, and I'm not going to do it because my niche interpretation of the Constitution says this. That's not what's going on here. And that's not how Article 92 works. And trying to apply that or imply that, I think, is horrible, right? And at a minimum, I think the voters should take that into account with that. But let me get some of these questions. Embrace your inner VTuber. Drink strong zero. Well, let me crack this one here because I know we're getting towards the end here, but I got to make sure I crack it for you guys because you guys gave enough super chats today. So cheers. Nice Canome wit beer, right? Very, very nice. Fat Factor Creation said, had my hopes up, but unfortunately it was a seductive 6. I don't know how seductive they are. Do you see the photos there? I don't know if they're that seductive. Patrick S 9022 for 10 says, as a former Army, all these 6 did was put members who refuse a lawful order they're unsure about face UCMJ Article 15 or even discharge. Exactly. So all they did, this is exactly right, Patrick. The only thing they accomplished is put member of the military at risk for, potentially refusing what is a lawful order, right? A presumptively lawful order under Article 92. And now they're going to be disciplined, right? So congratulations. You literally put members of the military at risk. And, we have to go back in time, go back to COVID when, members of the military are being forced to get questionable jabs, being forced to do things that were much more questionable under the Constitution than this. And there were some things that, in my opinion, my legal opinion, were very clearly illegal, but they were forcing the members of the military to do them, right? And the Supreme Court ultimately vindicated that with some of their decisions. But yeah, no, they are making they're kind of grasping at straws there with this illegal orders commentary. Gazaby for £5 says, if a group uses force to deny an order based on information from their video, can they be an accessory? Yes. So if a group uses force, so at the end of the day, if there was force involved here, or for example, if Mark Kelly directed someone to use force to stop an illegal order. This is a very good beer, by the way. Recommend the Hornbill. Yes, they absolutely could be, tied into that, or that could be looped in on them. So if there at some point is force and members of the military used force to resist, yeah, this could be all tied up and this could all come back. But right now we don't have that. Thankfully, hopefully we do not have that. My message to members of the military is please presumptively follow orders. That's the mandate. So do not follow a bunch of joke senators and House members that are not members of the military anymore and are now kind of directing you from on high. You don't want to be following those orders. You want to disobey these weirdos, right? And we generally disobey weirdos on the legal mindset. I hope you guys enjoyed this coverage. Make sure you smash the like button. Stay on the Hornbill or the Tiger. The Hornbill's actually really good. You know what? Hornbill wins today. I like the Tiger. I really like the Tiger. Tiger was good, but the Hornbill's a little better today. You know what? I'm feeling kind of horny after this. Doc Holiday, 5472 for 5 says, we need an IQ of 120 or more to have any government job, including senators and congressmen. You know what? That actually would be kind of smart. That would be kind of smart. All right, guys, listen, I'm going to let you guys go over to the Fast Facts. I will be back tomorrow. We got more stuff coming at you today. Until then, stay based, and I will catch you later. Peace.
You are coping the ceiling. You just can't believe what you're seeing. It's you coping the ceiling. The truth it is all day, and now you are molding.